In this video, I'm going to share with you how we've been able to automate our entire follow-up process with interested prospects and convert them into booked meetings, and eliminated more than $1,000 per month that we've been paying to a virtual assistant who was doing appointment setting. And it turns out we just don't need them. I mean, we could use them to phone, which would be helpful, and we might do that in the near future, to just phone interested leads on top of what this automation is doing. But from this week, we've had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this campaign got 4 leads booked, where all of those 4 leads booked by themselves. And so I'm going to show you exactly how this works. This is SmartLead that you see on the screen right now. This is a make automation that handles it, does all the heavy lifting, and I'm going to show you exactly how this works. So one thing I love about SmartLead is that when you receive replies from leads in a campaign, it can AI categorize their replies into things like not interested, wrong person, do not contact, out of office. But the positive reply types that we use, there's 4 of them. We use obviously meeting request, interested, pricing request, and information request. Now in this particular campaign, the call to action is not offering or asking for a meeting. It's just offering to share some insights and some information that they would find highly valuable. And so what we have here, we don't have a subsequence for meeting requests, but we do have subsequences to handle pricing requests, interested, and then information requests. So I'll go through those and explain how those work. We also have an automation for scheduled and no-show. And this is just so awesome. I'm so happy that this is working, because over the last 9 months, I've tried a lot of stuff. We tried building a very complex make automation that was looking in the client's Google Calendar and then figuring out available times, translating those times into the lead's local time zone, and trying to message them with exact times. And I thought up until now that you would need to actually send real times in order to boost the chances that someone will more likely reply and say, yeah, I'll choose that 10 a.m. tomorrow slot, please. Turns out you just don't need to do that at all. All these campaigns are doing is like sending persuasive messaging and just saying, here's my Calendly link. And it's just sending a Calendly link, and 4 leads in the last 3 days have booked meetings in our client's Calendly without us doing anything. So I'm really excited about this. Really glad to be able to share this revelation with you. And so let's dive into it. Now, one thing I should have mentioned earlier is that when SmartLead categorizes a reply as, pricing request, meeting request, information request, interested, it can then also, those can be the trigger to add them into one of these subsequences. So this campaign has 5 subsequences. Each subsequence has 5 or 6 emails that get sent out to the lead to try and book them, or get them to book themselves into a meeting. And so you can also just add, if you go to settings here and then go to lead categories, the left menu will change. You can add your own custom lead categories. So I've created one for scheduled, I've created one for no-show, and pricing request. And then I've also created this subsequence here called question answered. So the reasoning behind this is, let's imagine that somebody says, what's your pricing, or how much does it cost? That's just a very standard answer that we have. So we don't need to write a personalized reply to those people. We just have a templated reply that we use, and that gets answered automatically by this subsequence, and then the subsequence follows up to try and book them. Same with interested. If they say, yeah, I'm interested, we just have a standard subsequence that immediately follows up with them and tries to convert them into a booked meeting. Whereas if they ask for information and SmartLead's AI categorizes them as information request, then that means they've asked a question that we most likely need to properly address in order to alleviate their concerns and boost the chances that they're actually going to want to book a meeting with us or with our client. So what we do there is when that lead category comes in and it says information request, we'll manually write a reply to address their questions or concerns. And after we've sent that reply, then we would change their category to question answered. And then question answered is going to just follow up and try and get them to book in Calendly. So that's basically how it works. But the really important part is that these follow-ups have 5 or 6 emails in them each, and once a person books, you want these subsequences to stop immediately. You don't want them to keep getting messages because you're just going to look very unprofessional and they might not show up. So we have scheduled. The scheduled subsequence sends them a message that says, hey, thanks a lot for booking. I see that you're booked for this Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm excited to share with you insights. I'm excited to learn about your business and your goals, blah, blah, blah. So in order to get them onto the scheduled sequence and remove them from interested or pricing request or question answered, this is how we handle that. So we have this make scenario where it starts with Calendly watch events. So this is the Calendly webhook that's watching or listening for meetings getting booked into the calendar. When that happens, the next step is to find that lead in SmartLead. So we use the email address that they provided in Calendly, and then we send that information into SmartLead and say, hey, can you find this lead? And if it does find the lead, that's great, because then this top path of this branch is going to happen. If it doesn't find the lead, because the lead might have used a completely different email address, which does happen, then it's going to go down the bottom path and a different set of events is going to happen. So the top path is where we would ideally like everyone to go, but often the bottom path is the path that is taken where we have more of a human in a loop type scenario. So the top path, what happens is, if the lead is found, we send the Calendly fields into SmartLead for that lead, and then we notify our own team that the meeting's been booked. We add that meeting information to a Google Sheet. We also automate the process of emailing the client to tell them that the meeting has been scheduled. And then most importantly, we have changed category to scheduled. So this is very important, and you are able to find out each category's ID. There is a way to do that, and that is going to enable you to know, okay, the category ID for scheduled that I created as a custom category is that number that was on the screen a second ago. And so this is going to change their category automatically, and then SmartLead will know, okay, this lead category has been changed to scheduled, so let's remove them from any of these subsequences and move them onto the scheduled subsequence. So that's how that works, and that works very nicely when it does work. However, when the lead cannot be found in SmartLead, they go down this bottom path of the router, where what happens is an email gets sent to my team and it tells my team to go and find that lead in the SmartLead master inbox by searching for their name and their company name and just seeing if they can find them. And then it will add the meeting information to the Google Sheet, and then it will email the client and say, hey, this lead has booked a meeting, this came from us. And what our team member needs to do is just go into SmartLead, find the lead, and then manually change that lead's category to scheduled. As soon as that's happened, that lead's going to be removed from interested, pricing request, question answered, and they're going to be on scheduled, where they get a nice email just saying, yeah, looking forward to talking to you at this time, this date, this time zone. Now, we also have no-show, because sometimes, as you know, with cold email, people do not show for appointments. And so when that happens, usually our client emails us and says, this meeting ended up being a no-show. And then we go, okay, no worries. And we can then just change the lead category in SmartLead to say no-show. And then this is going to follow up with them 3 times to try to bring them back to the meeting and get them to reschedule the meeting. And also see if there are any reasons why they didn't show up and address any concerns that might exist. So that is how this works. And just seeing how well it works after having a preconception in my mind for so long that you need to send exact times in order to book meetings, it turns out that it's just not true. So I encourage you to try this method where you just automate the entire process and just send them a Calendly link. Like, that will enable you to automate all of this, and you'd be surprised. You would probably see quite a lot of people booking by themselves, as long as what you're offering to them and the reasons behind the need for a meeting are justified and worth it for your prospect in their mind. So I encourage you to try it out. And yeah, if you enjoy content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. Have a ton more content just like this coming. If you'd like us to build an outbound system for you that does automations like this and helps you to get more meetings with qualified leads on autopilot, book a time in my calendar using the link below, and I'll put you onto some crazy automation and speak to you soon.